Hi, I'm Frances. I'm a sovereign woman. I've corrected my status, and I like to think I speak a little bit on behalf of all the other men and women and their children, and on behalf of the peace groups. I've been a big part of peace group for many years, and actually organic farmer and musician and basically proper human being. And I want to say to that general who says that we should prepare for war, that they should actually prepare to say, I'm sorry. Because it's actually, first of all, it's embarrassing, it's mortifying. They're bombing, agreeing with the US, or allowing us to be associated with the strikes of bombs on Palestine and on the Yemen. Everybody's known for a long time that they're the most unfairly, horrendously, absolutely bombed out of it, unforgivable. In fact, it was my studies about Palestine and what was happening there that taught me the word scatterbomb. For years, this must have been 10, 15 years ago, Israel was already getting inside information about where children and various different people were hiding in school, and they just dropped scatter bombs in there. What they are is they land billions of bits of shrapnel and nails, fly out and just kill everybody or maim them or damage them horrendously. And we held a beautiful art show to raise money for them. And all the children's drawings were just the normalisation of helicopters and bombs and explosions and danger. And here we are going, yes, the US and the UK have continued striking on Hamas. It's like you can't call it something different. And what I want to tell you about is this idea that they think the US is saying it's retaliating. That isn't a human concept. Retaliation isn't a human concept. It's a military concept. And it's been programmed into the artificial intelligence. Now, you might think that doesn't matter. There's lots of people there making these decisions for good reason. Well, I'm sure you don't think that, but say, for example, you did think that. It's just not the case. The first time it came to my attention was that they've included this artificial intelligence and IP technology in the GM mosquitoes. Oh, sorry, natural Wolbachia bacteria mosquitoes. Blatant lie. But anyway, they have this IP technology in. And the first retaliation was that they used this AI to deploy the mosquito eggs into people's homes strategically. And they call it treating a whole area. Absolutely sick. No consensus, no warning, and actually no approval. But they'd all been paid. $40 million had been paid to the EPA and the police, and just shared out between the locals. So then I discover the day we get a postponement for that, an Indonesian hospital has been bombed in Palestine. So straight away, retaliation. And we see it. Then the next thing I gather is that they're using the exact same Microsoft technology to identify targets. I mean, we always worried about the militarization or the weaponization of AI, but it's not just a misuse, it's actually programmed. And so what I discovered was that they're using this to deploy or to identify targets. And whereas they'd only used to be able to identify 50 targets a year, with AI, they can find up to identify 100 targets a day and bomb 50 of them. It's absolute genocide, and it's completely inappropriate. And you might kind of go, oh, maybe they're good at identifying targets. Maybe they really are targets, but they're not. Because back in Obama's time, he made a big change, and which I learnt about through my study of drones and the use of drones in war. And what that was was that they've changed the rules in America, that they don't just strike targets, they strike signature groups. And basically a signature group is anybody who may have been negatively affected in the country that they are thinking about bombing. So if you happen to be the 16-year-old son of somebody who died in a bombing, then you're part of a signature group because you might have a peeve with America. And this was terrible in Pakistan. It was absolutely tragic. People who wouldn't have access to a hammer, let alone any sort of retaliation or any sort of terrorist attack. There's bimbling around trying to play football, not even a pair of shoes between them, being bombed out of it because they came into signature group. So now we have a situation where we've got millions of trillions of bioweapons being created in labs all over the world. They're actually creating pandemic pathogens overtly, saying that they were going to prepare for just in case this exact strain happens to mutate in nature, and that will let them be prepared to make vaccines. All this is rubbish. We have Sir Jeremy Farrar from Oxford. It's embarrassing. Oxitec making genetically modified mosquitoes and firing them out to Brazil, where the Zika mutates into a horrendous Japanese encephalitis. The exact map goes over that. And now they have the audacity to roll out an experimental vaccine on the Brazilian children for malaria or whatever it is they're going for now. And this same guy, Oxford University had a tropical diseases kind of unit in Vietnam. Heaps of people studied there. All of World Mosquito Programme, who were making the natural ones, they all studied under him. 98, 99 or 2008, 2009, he was developing a H5N1 avian flu vaccine, a universal one to cover all possible eventualities. He was involved in the gain of function experiments in 2013, I think it was, 14, and where they actually let it, they made it, the function they gave it was that it was able to move from only catching it through handling infected birds, like in flipping Bernard Matthews turkeys. Don't get me started on the cruelty. But anyway, they actually made that on purpose, made that leap, so that a particularly dangerous flu virus can jump to mammals and therefore us. And now here he is. He's been promoted to the head scientist of the World Health Organization, and he's saying, "Oh, we need to really put efforts into finding a vaccine or creating a vaccine because that flu could easily leap to humans." And he was involved the whole way. So it's literally his own personal strategy, probably his own personal patent. He already has that vaccine absolutely ready with his name on it. And, it's not on. We can't have a situation where if you want to withdraw from the treaty, withdraw from the health amendments or reject the health amendments, which are the most moving target of all, you can never get an actual definitive, this is what we're actually asking. If you actually try and say no, the next thing that happens, all these absolutely hideous diseases and mysterious insects or rollout of another experimental thing. And the problem with these is that each one, they can be brought in like on the back of a lorry. They can be brought in someone's purse. I don't know if you've ever seen a strip of mosquito eggs. And they all have the handy little transferable genes in them of infertility is right there. Deformed mouths of the females can't reach maturity, a luminous gene, a bit of IP technology so they can remotely assess our numbers that we're breeding in. I mean, it's fully macabre, and then on the back of talking about health and how they want to maximise the use of nuclear, in bringing PPE, I suppose, to places where there's a health crisis, UK and America are funding and buying 8 nuclear submarines for Australia. It's completely warmongering. And do you know who's going to be operating those nuclear submarines? AI. And so it brought me straight back to the very first, and thankfully so far only time we've been this close to a nuclear war, which we know would end in nuclear winter. And it was actually a Russian early warning place. And he gets the message. He's the one on duty. He's the one making decision. Remember the 4-minute warning? And it was, there has been a strike. Oh, another strike. There's actually been 5 strikes on Russia by America. And he has to think, oh, what his military protocol was he had to retaliate. But he was like, I'm going to make a judgment call, and I'm not. And it turned out there'd been a problem with the satellite signal. And it was only because it was a real man feeling the real responsibility of a decision, not an artificial intelligence programmed to operate, fall back on that retaliation protocol, and to identify. I mean, it has to be artificial intelligence that's identified the place where the ally of Iran was actually hiding. Or welcomed, not hiding, welcomed. You see the photos of them. I mean, who wouldn't be on Palestine's side? And then what do we have? And then now it's like, oh, we have to retaliate. You don't have to retaliate. We look for peace. That's what men and women do. They look for peace. They don't start throwing their weight around or in any way consenting to the release of these bioweapons, or the obviously the use of nuclear threatening, or the radiological pressure of flipping Elon Musk's mad radiological pressure and all the 5G and surveillance. It's unforgivable. We don't consent, and we certainly not going to comply to coming and being more collateral damage. For some people in government who can't even draw any sort of a boundary around allowing some other country dragging us into it on the news. UK strikes. We didn't say we wanted to do that. We never said that. So, we don't consent. We want peace. We've always wanted peace. We certainly don't want to be striking those countries. And what we want to do is redirect the ludicrous amount of money that the Great Britain gets from whatever heinous weapons it gives to these absolute sadists. Yeah, we don't want to be a part of that. That's not who we are. That's not what's called for right now. And actually, you can't just order us about. This is about peace, fairness, and I would say stopping the artificial intelligence. It's already been programmed wrong. It's going to take actions which are unrecoverable, tragic, unrecoverable. It already is. It's already doing it, and just find peace, say sorry, and try and pick up the pieces for the damage that we've done or allowed to happen. That's what I think it's called for.